Is this alliance going to hold? And are you dealing with so many competing interests that you're not able to even recognize what those interests are?
Thank you, Sam. Sam, first and foremost, I am convinced that our formation is going to hold. And the issue of political interest is expected because these are many different parties coming together. But I want to just point out the most important thing, which is the fact that in OKA we want to form the next government. Now, you know, politics is a game of numbers, and it would be foolish to imagine that we can win it without working together as we have united and getting as many other players on board as possible. So really, what is happening is that as One Kenya Alliance, we are actually courting other people. You saw last week that we had meetings with, our principals had meetings with leaders from Central Kenya, led by Martha Karua. JB Muturi, our speaker, was there. Former Governor Kiambu was there, and a lot of other leaders and former members of parliament and aspiring members of parliament, and you know, so it was really
what was the content of that discussion?
What we are doing.
Are there any concessions?
We are trying to get as many people to join us as possible. We are talking to them, and because at the end of the day, for us to win the presidency, we need numbers, and you know the way Kenyan voting patterns are. People vote based on how many of their people are within that coalition. So basically, that's what we are doing. And we also, obviously, I can say we would like to have the Nyanza block. So that's why we would invite Raila, because Raila is also a political player that could probably join OKA and support us. So really, I don't see the reason why anyone would be jittery because of having other people joining us. I mean, even if Ruto was to join us and support us to win the presidency, we wouldn't have a problem with that. The issue is that One Kenya Alliance has got the principles that came forward first, and amongst them, we would like to pick one to be the flag bearer in 2022. So that's basically the end game. So we are trying to court as many people as possible. Of course, there are those that we will not court because right now they've already moved on, but there are many that we can bring on board and we can work together. So I think there's a narrative, and I have said this many times. There is a narrative that One Kenya Alliance won't hold. I don't know where it's coming from, because the One Kenya Alliance principles are constantly talking the same language. But some of their foot soldiers, like myself, I mean, you don't take us too seriously, because the truth is, if I am going to be asked who is the best bet, I would obviously say Kalonzo Musyoka. If you're going to ask, you know, somebody like Cleophas Malala, he's likely to say ANC leader. If you ask Chris Wamalwa, he's likely to say Wentakunla. So all of us have got our preferences, but at the end of the day, what we have agreed is that whoever is picked by consensus, by the principals themselves, is the one that we shall law back. So I don't see cracks that are going to lead to. Does
that include, because you said that you're going to be ready to receive as many partners as possible, does that include also having Raila Odinga back? Because Raila Odinga said that mutakutana huko mbele. Is that part of the plan? Because it appears to be making someone like Cleophas Malala quite jittery.
Can I tell you the plan? The plan is to build numbers. That's a plan. So as many people as possible that we can bring to our fold under One Kenya Alliance umbrella, then the more the merrier. And that's a game plan. Not specific individuals, because I think
One Kenya Alliance principles shelving their ambitions to support someone like Raila Odinga if it gets.
No, that's not the game plan. The game plan is that we can build as many friends, and then those friends can join us. You know, when somebody comes to your house, they don't come and go to the bedroom. They come and stay in the living room. The bedroom is yours. So the bedroom is ours, but we are inviting as many people into our compound, into our home as possible. So that's really the game plan.
Senator Linturi, there is that report on the Daily Nation saying that there is Ruto's hidden hand in One Kenya Alliance chiefs fallout, and saying that there's an allegation there has been secret meetings. Have you been meeting with any of the One Kenya Alliance principals?
Some before I may probably go far in commenting on that one. Allow me chip in very briefly on this OKA Alliance. And you know, this is not new. This is something that was expectant, and especially when you look at the history of the four coalescing partners in OKA, and I would, without in doubt, say they are trying to implement a script from some quarters, and agreeing with my good friend that they're trying to build numbers, but I'm trying to build numbers I think, from people who are not able to attract very serious following, and for that matter, by the end of the day, with a lot of respect, they will not be able to yield anything much. Because you realize, even before we went for elections in 2013, 2007, 2013, the script of dividing the country into blocks and with a kingpin for them to mobilize communities to come together without meeting goal or probably meeting further, so that the whole communities would have been brought on board, is the script that the ODM leader has permanently used for a very long time, and that's why you realize there was the Pentagon, and in subsequent elections there was Kalonzo and the others. So this is not new. It is expected, it is normal. And
so you think One Kenya Alliance is an extension of Raila Odinga's plans?
And I can also tell you without a doubt, even some of the OKA principles, one of the OKA principles there is a spy.
Who? Who's that?
We want to wish them well. Let them continue. Let them continue that way. Because tell me, surely, let us be serious. I agree with the boy that politics is about numbers. What numbers is... okay, let me not cast doubt on the leadership and credibility. with a lot of respect. There are two spies within that group who report to different places. But there's a matter of time we will get to know. They will not be together. That I can tell you. And there's a lot of information out there.
Senator Lituri, there are only 4 principles within One Kenya Alliance. Who are those 2 spies?
Please don't push me there. Don't push me there. But I am telling you, let what I said today here probably come to fruition after some few weeks. Mm-hmm. But the truth, and I think the question that is so important that you asked me was...
whether there has been these secret meetings with the DP.
I cannot deny, neither confirm, that these meetings are expected, because just like he's saying, people will start doing each other. For example, he means to be very close to his Kalonzo and others. We are members of parliament. We always sit down, take a cup of tea together, and we always even bring debates and ask, my friend, look here, these are my neighbors. I tell them, you know what? Because we are my neighbors, let us get out the face of Kalonzo and everybody else here and talk like neighbors, good neighbors. What is our strength in this thing? What do you think we should need to do? Because, of course, we wouldn't mind being in government next time, although even being in the opposition is not really a big thing, because some of us have been in government, we survived, we fought seriously to bring governments into place, and there is nothing much that we can show for it.
Okay.
And for that matter, I can tell you, without the influence of those 3 people, the members of parliament or any other supporters are can easily make decisions that are independent of that kind of influence for the best and for the good of this country. Because there are some things that are factual, there are some things that we really don't disagree on as leaders, but these are in here, just like he's saying, being a captive, being somebody whose mind must always be carried by a regional, a chieftain of a particular area, is what has really messed this country. Because I don't think they are the best people that we want to be having.
You said a few interesting things that I'll get back to, that he's saying that you have nothing to show for you being within the ruling party. But let's listen to what transpired on the Wiper NDC last week.
We have been praying for my wife, Pauline. Pauline, as you know, has been indisposed, but I know that a miracle is around the corner. I want you to know, Pauline, you are very well represented.
We will still expect you to continue the talk for the sake of this country.
The Bible says, Njooni tusemezane. From today henceforth, we want today to provide the next president of this country who is seated today in the auditorium.
We ask only one thing.
Please take us to government. We are tired of being in the cold. You will have to make tough decisions because only one of you can be candidate. Please msiogope. Ukitaka kuoga, huwezi ogopa kutoa nguo. Si ni kweli? Everybody here wants to be the president. There is only one space for one person.
Yale ambayo Kalonzo anataka ndio yale ambayo Raila Odinga anataka. Barabara yetu itakutana tena. Hapo mbele barabara yetu itakutana tena.
Kama wote wataamua ni Kalonzo Musyoka, tutaenda kulala kwa vile hii maneno tutamaliza mapema.
Tunatakia nchi yetu mazuri, tunatakia nchi yetu uongozi mzuri.
Kama marafiki wake tuna imani kwamba yeye akitunukiwa hiyo nafasi na Wakenya na Mwenyezi Mungu atatekeleza wajibu wake vizuri.
I'm proud that is the founding fathers of OKA, ambao we've all come together for that singular unity of purpose.
All right, so that's what they said on the NDC day, but a few days later, listen to what transpired somewhere in Western Kenya.
Muichukue seriously. Isiwe kitu cha mzaha. Isiwe watu kutufikiri ati sasa wakiona Kalonzo ati wanafikiri Kalonzo watamchukua. Wakiona Weta watamchukua. Wakiona Gido watamchukua. Wakiona Mudavadi watamchukua. Jirongo watamchukua. Wacha bwana. Tumechoka kuchukuliwa.
Wana OKA, we mean business. And we are united to unite Kenya.
Na tunasema leo hii sisi tunataka kuwa huko mbele. Sisi tunataka kugawa serikali. Hatutaki kugawiwa serikali wakati huu.
Sisi tumechoka na mambo ya Raila. Kama ni nyinyi mtasimama kura, sisi tutawapatia kura. Lakini mkikuja hapa, mtuambie sisi tupatie Raila, tutawaacha kwa mataa.
Dawa ya madeni ni kufanya nini? Ni kulipa. Kwa hivyo mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga akiingia OKA alipe deni, na deni yake ni kupeana support kwa kiongozi atachaguliwa kama presidential candidate katika One Kenya Alliance.
Ninaona wengine wanabweka kwa sababu gani Raila amealikwa hapa. Raila na Kalonzo ni mandugu. Kwa hivyo kama ndugu yangu yako mdogo ana harusi, unapotea. Sempaka ufike.
Usikubali mtu yoyote acheze karata na maisha yako. Maisha yako si kasino. Nasikia?
Okay, all right. Senator Linturi has said a few things that he has refused to substantiate on who he believes are spies of who within that alliance. But Speaker Kagushi, I know you're on record saying that on the ballot, the contest to be between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. But we have an intervening 253 days, and a lot may happen during that season. With all this reporting going on that UDA or DP Ruto is reaching out to some of the members of One Kenya Alliance, specific on the delineation alleging that it's Musalia Mudavadi, are they unfounded? And if that was to happen, to what end?
So who is reaching out to who? Is it Deputy President reaching out to Mudavadi, or is it Mudavadi reaching out to Deputy President?
It is claimed, let me just read it again, that well, Ruto's hidden hand in One Kenya Alliance chiefs fallout. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi has dismissed as baseless claims that he is working with the deputy president, but his allies allege night meetings and secret talks to push him towards an alliance with the DP.
Yeah, actually, from what you're reading, it seems like it's the side of the Mudavadi which is reaching out to the side of the deputy president. Nevertheless, if you look at how the OKA principles have been behaving since the time OKA was established, they normally have the weekly photo shoot. Yeah, the weekly photo show. And when that is not
What is that?
No, they come together every week somewhere, either in a hotel or in one person's home, and they take a photo shoot. So sometimes you'd almost believe they send those photos to some quarters. They have to kind of show that. And it's also good for the newspapers, you know, because it kind of shows that they are together. So when they don't have that weekly photo shoot, then they have an activity.
Is that fair for you to say? Because we've seen them in real events. For instance, at the,
actually, that's what I'm saying.
NDC.
That's what I'm saying.
And then that meeting that you see all these leaders over the weekend, was it in Trans Nzoia or in Bungoma? They were speaking there. I think it was in Bungoma, and they're also in Trans Nzoia. Those are not photo shoots.
No, you see, what I'm saying is that the week there's an activity, then that photo shoot is not necessary. So in that event, they all now come together again for the show. And it's very good for optics, actually, to show like all the leaders are together. And I like that comfort. They're in comfort zone, and it's good because it is giving them that reassurance that they are brothers, that they are together. And when you see them together, actually, you see the camaraderie between them. You really like how they talk and how they behave. But deep within, if you look at them now when they are talking and when now they are charged and they are in the crowds, you kind of now see the real people coming out. Mm-hmm. But when they are together, you can't really see that. And so that's why you are wondering, how comes today when they are in the show of unity for optics reasons, they are all talking the same language, but then 2 days later when they go to the field and they are now talking and addressing their supporters, you see them talking very, very different things. You know, you'd almost think these are not the same people who were together 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. And what I dare say is this comfort we see them in is because most of them seem to have been put in one corner for the reason of demonizing one particular candidate, and that is the deputy president. But time is drawing nigh, and the time of reckoning is coming sooner than later, when everyone now will have to account for what and where they are taking their people and their supporters in terms of the next government. And when those hard questions now come, right, a lot of the OKA principles will be hard pressed to remain in their comfort zone. So I'm expecting that sooner than later we will have the OKA principles seriously reconsidering where they stand or where they sit based on where they want to take their people. Because people want to see their leaders taking them to government. And when it is clear that, let's say, like these OKA principles, you see, if BBI went through, it would have been very easy for them. It would have been very good because we would have had a lot of them in high positions. But look at this now. You only have 2 available positions. The only other way then is to script, and I'm sure someone is somewhere very busy scripting, something to do with the post-election agreement or arrangement, akin to what we had in 2002. Unless you try and sell that kind of an arrangement, of which we know...
You mean post-election?
Yeah.
After the election?
After the election. Someone would be seriously now scripting something to help them have...
But what value would it bring? I mean, if you were to go through the universal suffrage differently, coming back together after the election, how does it help? Actually,
those are some of their strategies. That's some of the tactics or strategies that they are strategies to be looking at. If you look at what Raila has talked, that we are soon coming together, and sometimes there's one actually time he said we are soon coming back together, either before or after the election. So if they are coming back together before the election, it means that there will be kind of an agreement or a consensus, which under the circumstances would be very difficult. And that is why the option of coming together now after the election would be sold to the candidates. And hopefully now, with the idea of probably, you know,
and would such conversations be something possible with UDA and Deputy President William Ruto?
You know, UDA has one advantage, that it is scripting its political arrangement away from the regional kingpins, which is a huge baggage. Then they have scripted their campaign totally based on an economic model, totally based on a movement perspective. And so you buy into the movement and you come on board to the economic model as you wish and as you hope and as you see it as a vehicle to empowering your future and changing the future of this country, and as opposed to the traditional kingpin and regional bloc and tribal mobilization, ethnic and tribal mobilization, which has been the traditional way of mobilizing for the country, for the political offices in Kenya, and which has been mastered by the OKA and this other group. And for that reason, Ruto doesn't doesn't seem to have that baggage that they are having. In fact, now what Ruto seems to be having, as you saw over the weekend, is competition now within the party, where different popular candidates are, posturing for different positions.
All right, Speaker Kagusha, we'll get back to that conversation later, because also